All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back here in Gent with our second round. We have Constantin versus Jeroen de Maat. Very exciting match to be seen because these players have played before already as well. Oh, I'm just gonna go back there and just remind you guys, try to put on the headphones because I'm gonna yap. I'm gonna yap a lot. All right, perfect. So, with these players ready for it, we have the two main Pokemon of these games, which is of course Miraidon and Koraidon. We are having a bit of a showdown here, who to see what the best rideable Pokemon is. Don't take that out of context, as we have Whimsicott with Prankster, Covercloak, Moonblast, Tailwind, Light Screen, Encore, Iron Lease with Terra, Normal, Life Orb, Libre, Psyblade, Mega Horn. Very strong with the Quark Drive. Psyblade also getting boosted in Electric Train just as well. Miraidon, of course. Terra Fairy with the Dazzling Gleam, Volt Switch, Draco Meteor, Electro Drift. Incineroar with its Assault Vest, being able to make sure that it is able to attack as many moves as possible. Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Focus Sash, Surge Strike, Close Combat, Aqua Jet, Iron Hands with the Electric Sea, Swords Dance, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch. And on the other hand, we have Umbreon with the Safety Goggles, Yawn, Taunt, Powerplay Moonlight, Entei with the Choice Band, Ogerpon with the Follow Me, of course, and Koraidon, Loaded Dice, Skill Shot as the Focus is Flutter Mane, and of course the Assault Vest, Raging Bolt. So let's take a look at the leads here. We have Whimsicott, Miraidon, and Koraidon and Ogerpon, two grass types, two dragons, and a lot of abilities are being activated right now. So we did see how the abilities normally the Miraidon tends to be faster, being able to really capitalize off its speed and its power that it has, because it gets boosted by Strain, gets boosted by its Stab. Koraidon, still a very strong Pokemon, unfortunately not a fire type itself. If it becomes a fire type, of course that gets boosted as well, and some extra. But now you have the potential for redirection with Pokemon. You have the potential of just being able to be well, it's always an awkward position in this, because if you can't protect, because Whimsicott is able to encore. If you Dazzling Gleam and it's Terra Fire from this Koraidon, it is able to tank any hit, but it is able to still hit one of these Pokemon for a lot of damage. Not for Skill Shot, but at least for Flare Blitz in that regard. You have just Protect coming out from the Koraidon, trying to make sure that it stays safe for at least one turn. We have the Tailwind from the Whimsicott, trying to keep this Miraidon the fastest thing onto the field. Miraidon going for that Dazzling Gleam right now, trying to make sure that this Ogerpon at least gets put down to its Focus Dash.
Ik was geen crit. Of wel een crit. Omdat ik het KO gedaan heb.
No. En dan Ivy Kachel.
Jawel. Niet bellen.
Ivy. Alright, meanwhile there's some gaslighting going on left to me. But yeah, we do have the Ogerpon already broken. It's sturdy, meaning right now you do have to follow me in case you don't want to get encore by this Whimsicott, of course, which is the scary option there. The Miraidon is locked into that Dazzling Gleam, so this does look like a prime time for this Koraidon to go for the Terra Fire, going for the Flare Blitz, KO the Whimsicott, or even potentially go for a lot of damage on, maybe even potentially KO it. So we do have that Terra exactly from Constantin, but it's time to make sure that both of these Pokemon have the Terra that they want. And Fire from Koraidon, the Fire Gun Sun God Nika is here, trying to make sure that it is able to take this Dazzling Gleam and do as much damage as possible. Follow Me coming out from the Ogerpon, making sure that Encore was going into that slot. Very safe play there, trying to make sure that the Whimsicott at least doesn't do all that much. Dazzling Gleam coming out. Its Choice Spectre is still in Electric Train. It is resisted, but still decent enough damage to kill that Ogerpon. Now, Gran is the next one to move. It does have that Roller Dice, and it is going for that Flare Blitz, so it is going to take a bit of recoil itself. It is Flare Blitz into that Whimsicott slot. So, next to the Dazzling Gleam damage, it is making sure that this Whimsicott is not able to Encore or even a Light Screen, or as this Koraidon has still enough health to be able to take some more hits from this Dazzling Gleam. As the next Pokemon of choice has been chosen well, we gotta see what Constantin is choosing actually. because what is the optimal Pokemon to switch in? I do believe like a Fluttermane could be very useful right now. By giving yourself a bit of speed, you are focused, so you tend to be very strong. But it is actually going to be that Entei, and Entei does not mind Fake Out, has the inner focus, doesn't care about Dazzling Gleam either. So this is looking like a pretty good Pokemon right now to be able to deal with these two Pokemon. Entei, of course, thanks to its inner focus, immune to Intimidate from the Incineroar, immune to the Fake Out from the Incineroar just as well. So any move that the Entei is going for is going to be able to a very strong move to hit either of these Pokemon. So with all those options in hand, what is the choice here of the matter? The Miraidon is actually the one switching out, trying to keep that safe at the very least. With the Intimidate, did at least work on the Koraidon. Well, the Iron Hands is the Pokemon of choice. It is going to have that defense boost thanks to that Electric Seed, being able to take moves just a bit better, and with the Electric Train boosting his defense by yet another stage, while the Koraidon, of course, is protecting itself, trying to make sure that no Fake Out is going into the slot. Incineroar going for the Fake Out, not going to work onto that Koraidon right now. The Entei, the next Pokemon tool, is going to be the Sacrifice into the Iron Hands, even at +2 defense, doing massive amount of damage in the sun, but no burn. Very important as well. Iron Hands is able to take one more of these, but of course you have the chance of being burned. You have Incineroar not really able to deal a lot of damage to either of these Pokemon, being able to knock off. But collision course from the Koraidon could prove to be enough to KO this Incineroar just as well. You then have the second layer of plays of being able to switch in the Miraidon potentially to the fighting type move, but that is a risk that you might not want to take. So you can already see that these players have played each other before, and it does seem to be the same team. So they're kind of like adapting to each other. We have the Protect coming out from the Iron Hands, making sure that it stays safe for one turn. And we have the collision course into that Incineroar, trying to make sure that that is gone, and it is completely gone as well. Not a lot of turns anymore of Sun. Alright, we do have the next Pokemon coming in. It is the Miraidon. Miraidon, of course, being able to switch moves again. We have already dealt with the one having no more resist here to these electric moves, so Miraidon is fully able to just go fully onto that offensive stat in that regard. Miraidon is, of course, a low HP right now, as it will have to deal with both of these Pokemon. So there's still a Pokemon in the back potentially. It could just as well be the Fluttermane, which is not looking like a very good Pokemon to have against you when you're Jeroen, because that Pokemon seems to be the answer to it all. And we have the Electric Drift coming into that Entei slot, is going to be able to take it out, because of course it is a Miraidon with choice specs in Electric Train. It will deal a lot of damage. That's the loss of the Entei going down, but that does mean that Koraidon is now able to move. Is going for the skill shot, boosting its speed, just trying to make sure that it is able to be faster than Miraidon. Now Iron Hands has gotten 2 defense boosts. Is it enough? Is it enough to be able to KO potentially with a Drain Punch right now? Because the defense drop will be important just as well. It is just a Swords Dance coming out from the Iron Hands, so not even considering that option. So Stun is gone, but Rhydon has the +1 speed. Pain is gone. War Drive wore off from the Iron Hands. Now a +1 speed. This does give the Rhydon the option for Flare Blitz, and the last Pokemon is actually that Raging Bolt. It is not a Soulfest Iron Hands. It will have to take a Draco Meteor or a potential move from the Rhydon, but as long as this Miraidon is locked into that electric move, the Raging Ball will not seem to care, as it is 4 times resistant, of course, and it is carrying that Assault Vest. With that Assault Vest just being able to shrug off any move. You do have Thunderclap just as well, you could scout out like what the damage ranges are here, I feel, for potential game to beat, but it does look like a very good right now. Rabbit is actually coming out into that Miraidon. It's just gonna KO it right there. As now, you do have that information that you could gather as well. Like Draco Meteor should definitely be enough, right? Soulfest still a Soulfest Aging Ball without the sun, but it's good information. Draco Meteor is going to be enough, so about that range we already know that Draco Meteor can be enough, so for later games Constantin can try to consider that in the next game. So with that being said, let's take a look at what the options. Okay. So, what are the adaptations that could happen? Miraidon mainly going for the Terra Fairy for the Dazzling Gleam is a decent option if, of course, Constantin decides to not protect. Because the time protecting the Miraidon and not the Ogerpon could open up a new line of play for Jeroen as well. Being able to double up into that Ogerpon slot, that is the freaky part about these kind of leads where you have to call if there's going to be like shield, protect, or follow me, anything really. So with all these options being put there, it is looking like a very, it's looking a bit more rough, what these players can do. Because you do have to just call it out, really. This is why I personally, when I was playing Love Coridon, very similar team, I did not enjoy playing against Miraidon because it was always a call to me versus the Whimsicott. Because like sometimes the Whimsicott went for Terra Water and then you went for a fire move and it survives and suddenly you have a lot of pain in that regard. But we have been able to enjoy this meta right now because Coridon really coming up right now. I'm very happy to see him pop off, even winning EUIC. Had to be piloted by Wolfie, but I do believe that other people can just as well because we have seen Crime before in top 4 as well. So, players are ready. Let's take a look at what they have brought. Gambling Smooth. We have the Iron Hands plus the Miraidon this time around, being able to certainly go for a fake out option there. Of course, Iron Hands will be using both of its Quark Drive and its Electric Seeds. Its attack is being raised right now, and now the Electric Seed will activate. This is something, this is a fun way to go around this, where you can switch in Iron Hands earlier or later, depending on what you want your positioning to be like. But now, having an attack and a defense raise, so just a good bulk up really for this Iron Hands, as it is able to make sure that it is able to damage either of these Pokemon for good damage. And you always have to consider, if both these Pokemon protect, what if the Whimsicott switches in, then you have suddenly, you're forced to go for that follow me, because that Encore is a very real option as well. Layers of plays. But a Protect could just as well be one of your safest play, just as well, as you're making sure that Fake Out is not affecting any. You know what the Miraidon is locking into, but that is the one fear if the Whimsicott comes in. That's always my fear, at least. We have the Terra activation right now. It is going to be onto that Coridon slot. It is going for that Terra Fire right now, trying to make sure it is able to survive, for example, any sort of Draco Meteor from this Miraidon potentially. As a Follow Me is actually the one coming out, so being able to Dazzling Gleam survive that. We have Follow Me coming out. We have Volt Switch actually going into that Ogerpon, so being able to take that quite nicely and being able to reposition. So that was one of the potential fears of now Whimsicott coming in, or what Jeroen has actually opted into is going to be that Incineroar slot. So giving that Intimidate, lowering the attack stat from both of these Pokemon is looking like a very good option, as the Scale Shot is coming out, meaning the defense drop of the Scale Shot as well will mean that this Coridon is going to take a little bit more damage every time. Wow, it's really going strong here versus this Incineroar, despite the Intimidate. But now with this defense drop, Iron Hands could very well do a lot of damage, as it is just going for a Swords Dance as well. So suddenly you're in an option where Fake Out is something you have to fear, but Dream Punch is very much also a thing you have to fear. Let's see, what is the Terra on the Airens? It is Terra Fire as well. So what you tend to do is like Fluttermane is able to Moonblast it at the very least, but with Terra Fire, if you try to keep that option, make sure that you can use it later. So really well adjusted here, I feel, by Jeroen by just going with the Iron Hand play, because it is able to do quite a bit. We have to Fake Out into that Koraidon. We don't have a move coming out. That means Ivy Cudgel going into that spot of the Incineroar, meaning this right now, the Iron Hands is able to be freely move, do anything really right now, as it is a Drain Punch into that Koraidon and just KOing it just as well. Suddenly losing your restricted like that and your Terra option will probably worry a bit for Constantin. Pokémon is still on the field. It still carries that potential to redirect anything. Miraidon also a very good option, because if Raging Bolt is there again, like things like Dazzling Gleam, still very strong, being able to kill the Pokémon, being able to deal a lot of damage to the Raging Bolt as well, because it will not be able to Terra anymore. And it is looking really, really good for Jeroen, I feel, right now. I'm trying to see what the option here is for Constantin. Like, of course, Entei with the Choice Band, Sacred Fire, burning the Iron Hands could very well be an option, but as long as Jeroen has that option for that Terra Fire, he does not really mind that. So then you have Stomping Tantrum or even Stone Edge to try and deal with it, but it's still a call you have to make. It is going to be that Raging Bolt, while the Urshifu is the Pokemon of choice on Jeroen's side, revealing all of his Pokemon onto him. Special attack raise thanks to the Brutal Synthesis boost. So with that boost right now, making sure that the Dracometer is going to be able to do even more damage. Of course, something like Thunder Clap will surely be able to deal with the Urshifu Rapid Strike. It is, of course, it is Focus Sash, so a double up could very well happen to the Urshifu, but if you play too defensively and Constantin really tries to double up right now onto the Iron Hands, that could prove fatal just as well for Jeroen. So this is still not a full-on call you have to make. Constantin still has a Pokemon in the back, which I'm expecting to be that Entei or the Fluttermane. Fluttermane is looking still like a decent option. Urshifu going for the Protect. Let's take a look at what the options are. It is just follow me from the Ogre Pond. I'm trying to make sure that this Raging Bolt stays healthy. And we have Electro Web actually coming out. It is going to hit the Iron Hands, but Iron Hands really not minding that damage, because it is now able to just get a big fat Dream Punch onto this Ogre Pond. I'm sorry, I blanked there for a second. And that does give him that's another Pokemon down. So that will reveal the last Pokemon right now, which could prove to be very useful actually. It is Testalos, so it is Entei. And I am seeing this Iron Hands is an issue. Terra Fire is looking really good. Stomping Tantrum can still deal damage, but Entei will be locking himself into that Stomping Tantrum. A double up is needed versus this Urshifu, but a double up is more than needed versus Iron Hands just as well. You have Dracometer, you have Sacred Fire, you have Stomping Tantrum, Iron Hands for guaranteed damage. But then there's still the Miraidon in the back just as well, which is able to click Dazzling Gleam or even an Electric, like depending on what you want. Or Dracometer, honestly Dracometer. Terra is already gone. And this is the Miraidon switching actually. We have the Terra option from Jeroen, going for that Terra Fire onto the Iron Hands, going for the all-out damage right now. Has a little candle on its head, cannot be burned anymore by any Sacred Fires, but Stone Edge or Stomping Tantrum can still deal a lot of damage. It is Sacred Fire actually, so this Iron Hands being able to take that quite well. Wow, with +1 and the defense raise, is going to be able to do just a bit more as well. The Iron Hands is now on half its HP, but it has a very strong Rain Punch coming into that Raging Ball. Not enough to kill it, but doing a lot of damage and being able to heal almost all of that damage back up. Miraidon being on the field, it is hit. It has been hit. it has been hit by the Electro Whip, so Miraidon might be slower than the Entei, depending on how these Pokemon are trained, of course. But that does mean that Miraidon is able to potentially just do some moves just as well, because Raging Ball has been chipped down, so Electro Dip is gonna it's still 4 times resist. It's still a Soul Fest, but this is Miraidon we're talking about. Silver Fire into that Miraidon being able to survive that quite comfortably thanks to its typing. Electro Drift going into that Entei. It is going to be enough. We saw that it was able to be enough. Festival is going down. And now it is Raging Bolt versus the world right now, which is not a position you like to be in. So we're having Thunderbolt into the Iron Hands. Is it enough for the kill? It is not. It is able to survive. Dream Punch, and that will be it. And it is 1-1. Jeroen versus Constantin. This Iron Hands was adjusted very well. Just being able to be on the field, have that attack race, and threaten a lot of Pokemon left and right. So, what's the next step of adjustment? We have seen Ogerpon Cryolan lead from Constantin earlier, but I was really afraid of the potential ones coming back. Saw that Jeroen didn't bring the Wizard God this time around, but could very well do that in game 3. So this is the fun levels of play where there can be adaptation on top of adaptation time and time again. But I do believe personally that I think that Fluttermane can be the next Pokemon to bring. It is still a very strong Pokemon. It only has 2 Fairy type moves and Icy Wind. So if Iron Hands is the choice of the game plan again for Jeroen, that could prove to be difficult. So you'd rather have the Raging Bolt. So it's not the easiest choice to make. It is just knowing your opponent, being in their head right now, what the options here are. Ja, ik weet het. Dus wissel ze biedt. Oh. Niet als het dan doorgaan, dan wist ik naar de game. Gelijk op de streams. But choosing at the options there, what are the adaptations? Jeroen could go for a step further, bring the Whimsicott. This time can bring the Whimsicott. Constantin can choose to bring a different lead there, going for example, not Korean Ogerpon, but actually Raging Bolt Korean, for example, or even Entei Korean. It is still very strong. Even Fluttermane Korean has been something that people have been doing a lot. It is such a good, strong lead because you threaten so many Pokemon with it. But it's still the matter of fact, what is the thing that Jeroen is bringing? Like, Jeroen will bring something, and Constantin will more have to respond, as opposed that Jeroen can stick to one game plan and try to win with that, because Jeroen has less to consider in that regard than Constantin does in this particular matchup. So, the players have locked in. They're ready for this next game. It is time for game 3 of round 2 versus these players. Jeroen versus Constantin, Miraidon versus Koraidon. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. We have a perfect stage set as well. Is Koraidon plus Fluttermane. That is the lead that I was expecting, as it is Iron Hands plus the Miraidon. Jeroen sticking to the same bit that worked in the last game, while Constantin has adapted with that, with the Fluttermane. Fluttermane, of course, being able to threaten this Iron Hands or this Miraidon with a lot of damage, as it is able to use any type of fire type moves like Dancing Gleam, Moonblast, Icy Wind, anything really to try and kill either of these Pokemon. So Jeroen has to doesn't have Protect onto his Miraidon. He has Protect on his Iron Hands, as it is not an Assault Vest set. But there's so many things to consider what your best line of play is. So this is going to be a very important turn 1, because Miraidon can just as well switch out. Miraidon can just stay in. It is all dependent on what this play will bring. So will Constantin go for the Terra? Will he just Protect, Scout out what Jeroen is doing? Which is also a valuable option, really. But it's rough. It's rough. We'll have to see. We'll just have to see, because I cannot be in the minds of these players, but they are looking fully geared up to take this win, because honestly, the stream is a bit biased, I must say. We have the plushies there, of course, as we have the Terra of the Iron Hands. Iron Hands was the way to go in game 2, and Jeroen has decided to go just again with that Iron Hands. Terra Fire, It is able to Drain Punch, it is able to Thunder Punch, it is able to do damage as much as one. Icy Wind coming out from the Flutter Mane, meaning this Miraidon is able to survive at least for another turn. Potentially, depending on what, of course, Constantin has chosen to do. If the Korean is going for the Scale Shot, is going for the Scale Shot into that Miraidon, could have just as well gone for the Terra Fairy, and that Miraidon is suddenly gone. Defense drop onto the Koraidon will mean that right now this Iron Hands is able to deal a lot of damage just as well. Miraidon going down there. Now defense drop as well. This is a +1 Iron Hands and a -1 Koraidon. This is technically +2 already, but another Swords Hands coming out. This Iron Hand is fully locked in and loaded and trying to run away with the game, just like it did at the last game. But Miraidon immediately being gone might prove to be a fatal mistake on Jeroen's side. The option was still there to switch out the Incineroar instead for the Miraidon, but there were a lot of things to consider there. But now we have the fake out, we have the potential to just try hitting things. The Iron Hands doesn't mind really any sort of damage from both of these Pokemon. Like, the damage will stack up surely, but the Iron Hands does not care about this Flutter Mane right now. It has Dazzling Gleam, Moonblast, Icy Wind, and no other moves to hit it from. It is Protect coming out from the Koraidon, trying to keep that safe, because we already saw that the Drain Punch was able to KO it. It's going for the fake out into that Koraidon slot, trying to make sure that that goes down immediately, but no. It's just a Dazzling Gleam from the... It is just a Dazzling Gleam. Thunder Punch, predicting the potential Protect, and the Flutter Mane gets put down to its sash. There's no more option for Terra onto Jeroen's side, but there are still options here, of course, on Constantin for later. But that does mean that right now this Incineroar is a prime target to be hit by any sort of move from this Koraidon. We do have the potential to switch out, depending on what Jeroen has in the back. We already know, of course, what's in the back. There's not really a good switch in there, as the Flutter Mane is actually the one opting to switch out. So Collision Course could very well just be the choice here, as we don't have the Incineroar switching out just yet. It is Collision Course from the Koraidon, just making sure that at least the Incineroar is gone. Incineroar gone, only 2 Pokemon left on Jeroen's side, and now this Iron Hands is the one to move. It is +3 right now, being able to make sure that it is dealing a lot of damage, and it will do all that damage onto the Koraidon slot, and that is suddenly gone. It's 2-3, both Koraidon and Miraidon are down. Jeroen does not have the option to switch out anymore. Of course, the Flutter Mane is on its Focus Sash, on its last possible HP that it can be, and the last Pokemon that Jeroen brought was the Urshifu. Constantin is still deciding on what to bring. Is it the Flutter Mane? Like, the options are still there. What is the Pokemon that Jeroen brought? Is it the Whimsicott? Is it the potential Iron Lease? Is it even another Miraidon? As the Flutter Mane is the Pokemon of choice. Urshifu coming in, being able to potentially Aqua Jet this Flutter Mane and being able to KO it just as well. Lucy's speed is boosted thanks to the photosynthesis, but now you are like, there's still a Pokemon in the back just as well for Constantin. A play that I can see right now is Aqua Jet into the Flutter Mane and Drain Punch into that slot, because one of the two will KO it, and if the Aqua Jet does KO the Flutter, that means that the Drain Punch will be redirected onto the Raging Bolt, which is still a fine and prime target. If the last Pokemon there is Ogerpon, however, you could very well just sack off the Flutter Mane and make sure that your Ogerpon is the last Pokemon versus either of these two, because you want to do as much damage as possible. Raging Bolt going for the Terra Fairy, trying to make sure that no more Drain Punch. Drain Punch can do a lot of damage. Okay, we have Terra Fairy on the Raging Bolt. This is prime targeting right now, as we have the Detect actually from the Urshifu, trying to make sure that it stays safe for one turn, because of course Raging Bolt is now really able to go for an Electro. We have Dazzling Gleam coming out. And we do know that Electric Drain is still up. Earlier we did see how much a Thunderbolt did, but this time Electro Web is the move of choice here. as we will see what this Iron Hands will be doing. The speed drop is not all that bad. Drain Punch still doing a lot of damage. Oh my god. That is resisted, is what they would call it. But that did not seem all that resisted to me. Still, the same line of play could very well be done right now. Right, but instead of Drain Punch, you could just go for the potential of just Thunder Punch, as the Raging Bolt does not have the option to protect itself. So we have Aqua Jet going into that Flutter Mane, meaning right now it is Raging Bolt and an unknown Pokemon still in the back. Raging Bolt being able to move. It is going for the Electro, lowering the speed from the Urshifu. If the Ogerpon is the Pokemon of choice in the back here, that could prove to be still quite useful. Because there will be still mind games to be played. Ursh, and now that means Iron Hands, if it is going for that Thunder Punch, it will be able to KO this Raging Bolt. Now, one Pokemon left on Constantin's side. We have no idea what it is. It could just as well be the Entei. It needs to be able to deal with this Iron Hands, as it is +3. Oh, never mind. That's going to disappear in just a bit, as the electricity and the stun are gone. That means that this Iron Hands is solely +2 now. Is still very strong. And now the last Pokemon being brought in is that Ogerpon. Ogerpon is now faster than Urshifu. It is able to Ivy Cudgel this, the Ogerpon just as well. It is all dependent on if this Ogerpon is able to crit. This Ogerpon is able to move before the Urshifu, because Aqua Jet plus Drain Punch could be the end of the Ogerpon. But then you have to consider the other option is just going to be the Aqua Jet here. So Ivy Cudgel going into the Iron Hands. It is going to the Iron Hands. Is it enough for the KO? It is enough with the Ivy Cudgel there. And now with the Urshifu being the sole Pokemon on the field, slower than the Ogerpon, that means that Constantin is really able to go. Oh wait, no, never mind. It's a power. Oh well, Ivy just go for Ivy Cudgel, as his Urshifu is on 1 HP, and Surging Strikes will not be able to KO as it is now slower. So very well played by Constantin there, keeping his own Ogerpon there in the back. That was an amazingly close match. Well played to both players. And congrats to Constantin, as he has won this game. That does mean that this is the end of round 2. We will be shortly returning with round 3. We hope you stick around. See you in just a bit.